Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is the Two Old Farts. My name is Chuck.
I'm Lou. I'm the better looking of the two old farts today. I got my snaggle tooth covered up.
Yeah, you
See,
look pretty good today. Yeah, you look pretty handsome.
I only got about another month or two to wear this thing for. Hopefully, get something better.
You're looking pretty fly for a white guy.
Could be worse, right?
Always could be worse.
Well, how you like this weather? Yesterday was 98 on the back porch. Just today 68.
Yeah, it was that wind that blew in that cold front.
Yeah, just hopefully it'll blow on out tonight and tomorrow morning. I like those warm days.
I like it kind of chilly. I gotta admit, I like it kind of chilly.
I can stand the heat. I can take clothes off, but I can't put enough on.
I didn't say I like the cold. I just said I like it a little chilly.
That's why you see me wearing this little shirt I got on there to cover my Lukenbach shirt.
All right. It's gonna be in the east tomorrow morning at sunrise
Yeah, but shouldn't warm up later in the afternoon. I think in the what
into the 70s.
70s. Then in the latter part of the week it's going to get warmer. So that's why we live in Texas, right?
Yeah, Texas weather is like don't pulling out numbers on a lottery ticket. You could get a 32 one day and a 78 the next.
Yeah, we had that last week, right?
Sure did. Or 2 weeks ago.
One day it was 30 something, next day it was 70 something.
Yep.
Oh well, that's what makes it fun. Interesting conversation.
Yeah, definitely makes it interesting.
Well, last week, no, not last week. It's been 2 weeks now since we had a podcast.
Yeah, and last week I was just so busy during the first part of the week that I just didn't have time. I was getting home late, meetings and whatnot, and then by the end of the week you had stuff to do, so we just decided to do it today.
We're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, some people that I really, really like, heroes of mine. We're talking about the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yep, and you know me, I love American history and war history.
I do too. Most of the books I got that I'm reading about stuff like that. Tuskegee, what's Tuskegee known for? Tuskegee, Alabama.
Well, unfortunately, it was that syphilis. I can't remember what they call it. They infected the folks there with syphilis to do medical experimentations on them. There was a historically black college there in Tuskegee, as well as the airfield where the Tuskegee Airmen trained to be pilots in World War II.
The city is best known for the seat of Tuskegee University, built in 1881. And you're right about, unfortunately and sadly, the experiments that took place there. There's some noted educators. Booker T. Washington was principal of the school from its founding until its death. Tuskegee comes from Spanish, and I have no idea what the hell I'm saying here, so I'm going to say Tuskegee, Tasquiq.
Tuskegee or something, maybe?
It comes from the Muskogee word because you had a lot of Muskogee Indians in that area. Tuskegee, meaning warriors.
Well, that's perfectly named for the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah, that group was formed, the 332nd Fighter Group and the 477 Bombardment Group of the Army Air Corps, and fought in World War II as the first African American military aviators in the nation's history. One of the most famous teachers at Tuskegee was George Washington Carver.
Yes, peanuts.
Yep, hundreds of other things that he did. He's synonymous with research on the farming methods and the development of hundreds of commercial products derived from regional crops, peanuts and sweet potatoes and so forth. Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver and several other former members of the Tuskegee faculty and staff were actually buried in the school cemetery. So why were the Tuskegee Airmen called Red Tails?
That was because they painted not just the tail of the aircraft, they painted all the way down into the body of the aircraft. Big red tail because they wanted the enemy to know who they were when they saw them.
Absolutely. They flew more than 15,000 sorties between May of 43 and June of 45. Bomber crews often requested to be escorted by these red tails because they were said to be the best in the business and provided the best security.
Yeah, they very rarely lost a bomber to enemy action.
Yep. What famous quote from the Tuskegee? What was a famous quote from the Tuskegee Airmen?
That I do not know, sir.
The power of excellence is overwhelming. It is always in demand and nobody cares about its color. Tuskegee Airman General Daniel Chappie James Jr., who flew 100 combat missions in Korea and 78 more in Vietnam. He's the one that made that statement.
Isn't that also part of the Air Force, one of the Air Force values, excellence in all we do?
Absolutely. And one of my favorite teams is Black Man and Robin.
Black Man and Robin.
The Black Man and Robin.
Okay, who are they?
General Robin Olds and General Daniel Chappie James.
Robin Olds, the mustache.
Yeah, he was in Vietnam. He was in charge of the fighter group, and James was his assistant. And I think somewhere in here I got how many missions they flew together. So
I saw a
they flew.
documentary about Robin Olds maybe a year or two ago. And when you talk about the missions he flew, he lied about the number of missions he flew because he didn't want to rotate early out of Vietnam. They raised the number of missions the pilots had to get to be rotated out of the war zone early. I think it was 100 missions. And he had his lockdown at like 97 or 98, so he would never go over 100.
James flew 78 combat mission in North Vietnam and helped Olds to plan and lead the famed Operation Bolo in January '67.
Have you read up about that, Operation Bolo?
No, I haven't, but I'm going to.
We're gonna need to read up on it because we need to educate these people on this operation. It is truly badass, and it's about deception, military deception. It's excellent. You'll love the story.
You have the book?
I remember it. I've read about it. I've been taught about it in the Air Force. I learned about it in one of my professional development classes. You need to read up about Operation Bolo.
It's considered one of the greatest air battles of the war. They destroyed 7 enemy MiG-21 aircraft during Bolo, which at that time was the highest total kill of any air mission during Vietnam. That's how the 8th Tactical Fighter Wing earned its nickname, the Wolf Pack, because Olds told his pilots that they would be wolves in sheep's clothing.
That is correct.
I've read, a little bit about those guys. I'm going to read some more, but it's been a while since I've read about General Olds and stuff like that. James was officially promoted to the rank of 4-star general, becoming the first black man to attain that rank in the U.S. military. He has several degrees and stuff like that.
When you were in the Air Force, did you guys celebrate Mustache March?
No, we didn't.
Well, I don't know when it came about, but it's pretty prevalent now, and it's in honor of Robin Olds and the mustache. So in March, everybody, if they have any facial hair, they shave it off at the beginning of March, and at the end, they grow out their mustache during that month, and they have contests and prizes for the best looking mustache, the worst looking mustache.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah,
It's kind of like on KSAT 12 every year. They donate. They all the men grow beards and they donate the money.
that's in
Well,
November. That's No Shave November.
yeah, that's pretty neat. Some of the war accomplishments for the Tuskegee Airmen. I'm going to have to read some of that. I printed this kind of small. In all, 992 pilots were trained in Tuskegee from 41 to 46. 450 were deployed overseas. 150 lost their lives in accidents or combat. The total included 66 pilots that killed in actions, 84 killed in training, and non-combat missions. 32 were captured as prisoners of war. They flew 1,378 combat missions, 1,067 for the 12th Air Force and 311 for the 15th Air Force. 112 enemy aircraft destroyed in the air, another 150 on the ground, and 148 damaged. 950 rail cars, trucks, and other motor vehicles were destroyed. Over 600 were rail cars. That's pretty damn good when you can hit a moving train and get that many rail cars, you know?
Yep, it is.
One destroyer put out a commission. 40 boats and barges were destroyed. The units received 3 distinguished unit citations. The 99th Pursuit Squadron, the United Fighter Squadron, the 332nd Fighter Squadron. There's at least one Silver Star, 96 Distinguished Flying Crosses to 95 Airmen. Captain William A. Copeland was awarded 2. They had 14 Bronze Stars, 744 Air Models, and 8 Purple Hearts. Back to General Chappie James. In May 87, Tuskegee University dedicated the General Daniel Chappie James Jr. Center for Advanced Science and Health Education to the General. James, flew out of Yubon, Thailand, and of course Vietnam. And his son was a lieutenant general in the Air Force who was served as director of the National Guard, stuff like that. He was born in Tuskegee, Alabama in 1945. He flew 500 combat missions in Southeast Asia and earned 2 Distinguished Flying Crosses. He was the first African American to become the director of the Air National Guard. He retired in 2006 from the Air Force. So when you start reading history, there's a lot of father-son type connections, family connections in the military.
It's funny you mention that because Robin Olds, his father was a major general in the Army Air Forces.
Yes, back in I want to say World War One.
Well, and I think up through World War II because Robin Olds did go to West Point.
Yeah, and then another famous Tuskegee Airman was Brigadier General Charles E. McGee. He passed away in January 2022 at 102 years old at his home in Bashida, Maryland. He was a decorated combat pilot. He spanned 3 wars, a selfless teacher of character. He leaves behind a powerful legacy of dedication, perseverance, and service.
Was he the last remaining Tuskegee Airman?
I believe he was.
Let me look that up.
He battled.
Yes, it was. It was Colonel Harry Stewart Jr.
Yeah. He embodied the mantra that he liked to pass on advice to younger generations: perceive, prepare, perform, and preserve.
Yep.
Yep. He served as a fighter pilot flying Lockheed's F-80s. When the Korean War broke out, he flew the P-51 Mustangs again in the 67th Fighter Bomber Squadron, completing 100 missions. And from there, he was promoted to major. In Vietnam, as a lieutenant colonel, he flew 172 combat missions in the F-Force, photo reconnaissance. He achieved a 3-war fighter mission total of 409 combat missions, one of the highest by any Air Force fighter pilot. He ended his career with 6,308 flying hours. That is a lot of flying.
Yeah, there was just a whole lot of badassery with those guys. That's all.
I'm telling you. I gotta get that book and read it. You got me interested now.
I don't know if it was a book or not, but I know I've read it. I'll have to dig and see if I've got it somewhere.
Well, when we get off, I'm gonna look it up and find out. But there's some other famous pilots too. Bessie Coleman. Have you ever heard that name before? Me either, until I started doing some research here. She's both African American and Native American descendant. She was born 1892 and died in 1926. She was the first female from both ethnic heritage to earn her pilot license. Because there are no aeronautical facilities that would teach minority women to fly, she earned her license in France, where she died in 1921. What she did in 1921. When she returned to the States, she became a soldier and built her career as an air show pilot. She died during a test flight in 1926. Then there's Eugene Jacques Bullitt. He is the first African-American military combat pilot. Born in Columbus, Georgia. I'm sure you know where that place is at.
Never.
In 1895. Making history as the first black military pilot. The first black military aviators in the U.S. Armed Forces was the Tuskegee Airmen, as we talked about. And it was led by Alfred Anderson, who was known as the father of black aviation. Robert Lawrence was the first African-American astronaut. He was born in Chicago in 1935, graduated from Bradley University with a degree in chemistry. He'd go on to serve as an Air Force officer, skilled pilot, logging 2,500 hours and flying in 2,000 jets. Then Guy Buford, the first African-American astronaut in space. He was born in Philadelphia and he served in the Air Force and a pilot before working at NASA. Mae Jemison was the first African American woman in space. A lot of this stuff I did not know. I think it's important that we go back and look at history and talk about all these people who made history, especially in our minority groups. Sometimes we don't always give them the credit that they've earned. Mae Johnson was born in Alabama in 1956. She grew up in Chicago, and she was involved heavily in dance, yet also held fascination for science. She graduated from Stanford. She became, in 1992, became the first black woman in space as a member of Space Shuttle Endeavour.
Yeah.
Yep. Several black men have received the Medal of Honor for their service in the Vietnam War, including Melvin Morris, Clarence Sasser, Harris Davis, John Canley, and James Anderson Jr. Sasser was an Army medic who helped fellow soldiers to set safely after the helicopter was attacked in 1968. Morris was awarded the Medal of Honor in 2014 after a review upgraded his Distinguished Service Cross. Then John Canley is a U.S. Marine who received the Medal of Honor in 2018 for his actions in the Tet Offensive in Vietnam. And Paris Davis, a retired Army colonel who received the Medal of Honor in 23 for saving fellow soldiers under fire. Then James Anderson Jr., the first black member of the Marine Corps to receive the Medal of Honor. Milton Lee Olive III was a Chicago native and won selfless act of a young combat veteran becoming a battlefield legend and saving 4 of his comrades during a patrol in Phu Quoc, Vietnam on October 22nd. Don't you listen to this. Olive and 4 others, including his platoon commander, were quietly and steadily pursuing one band of Viet Cong through the tangled growth. As they moved through jungle brush, they tried to spot Viet Cong operating in the area. At different times, they were under varying degrees of enemy fire, sometimes pinned down temporarily. Suddenly, one of the enemy turned and threw a hand grenade into the middle of the platoon. Guess what Olive did? He dashed forward, grabbed the grenade, yelling, "I've got it." He tucked it into his middle and moved away from others, falling on the grenade and absorbing the full blast. Now, that's a hero. That's pretty much all I got.
That's quite a bit, though.
That's a lot of innocent, but I really encourage all of our family, friends, and people who listen to what and listen to read about something. Give us some feedback and give us some things that you want us to hear us talk about.
Viewership is like just dropping like flies. We might have to do some advertising or something.
Are you saying we're going to put some money out, put some contests out there?
Contests? We might have to do some advertising or something, man. Nobody's watching anymore. But I just got a message from Kaylee. She's watching live right now, and
good for her.
she had posted in chat that she had just learned about Mae Jemison a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, is that right?
Can you look on the screen? Can you see the chat message on the far right-hand side of your screen?
No.
You see anything that says chat? You can't see it?
No.
Okay.
You got to remember, I'm not technologically as smart as you are.
But if you're looking at your computer screen where we're talking in Riverside, on the right-hand side, you don't have chat available. Okay. Well, they had started something here in Podbean, and I had set it up to where if I have accounts on these websites, it will stream automatically when we start our podcast, so people can watch live. And apparently, Kaylee is right now.
Well, also,
I think she's watching it live on YouTube.
We got a couple of birthdays coming up here in March.
Well, yesterday was my favorite niece's birthday.
Yeah, she was. I don't know how old she is now, but come March 29th.
She's old.
Yeah. Guess whose birthday is on March 29th?
March 29th. March 29th. I don't.
Lucy and Hannah.
I got Hannah's on my.
Yeah, they got the same birthday.
Shoot, I got to put it on. I only had Hannah's.
Yeah.
Yep, got them both on there now.
Yeah. So, and we had another birthday here just recently too. Or you did, or one of your daughters coming up.
You talking about Kaylee?
No, Kaylee had hers already.
Yes.
Mackenzie?
Yes, last month she had a birthday.
Yeah. Then Erica's in November, I think it was?
Yeah, Erica's was in November. and Kaylee's was in January.
Yeah, but Hannah and Lucy, well, I'm gonna tell you what. I see those girls on Facebook. They just light up my day. Those, well, Kaylee, you got your hands full there, girl.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
Is she reading any more of those books that we talked about?
Let me see if she posted anything in chat. I don't see anything else. Hang on. Yep, she said Hannah and Lucy share birthday. She said not now.
Girl, you got to get after it. You slow it down.
Speaking of slowing down, yesterday and today, I went and got about half a truckload of sod and bags of dirt. Well, let me tell you, I was plumb wore out yesterday. Putting that stuff in the wheelbarrow, toting it out back, bringing the wheelbarrow around front, dragging it out of the bed of the truck. Then laying the sod, putting the dirt down. Man, I was having to stop and I'm huffing and puffing, man.
Yep, that's the job. I did my front yard yesterday. I did the backyard last week. So yesterday I got out and I got most of the leaves up, then mulch the rest and stuff like that. Hello there, sweetie. Who's that?
You know who that is.
You got the jealous one there.
Yep, got the jealous one.
Well, I'm not going to do any side this year. I'm going to get out there and break up the ground a little bit. We're going to plant grass seeds and put some stuff over it, mulch or whatever over it, and then see if we can get it to grow that way around the backyard.
Well, you might want to get out there now before it gets too hot.
Yeah, I'm going to wait another couple of weeks because for grass seeds, you need that heat so they help the germination. And I got a bunch of flower seeds I'm going to plant next week. I got those little flower beds in the back corner back there busted out and ready to do it. A lot of our plants and stuff I was able to save over the winter. They're still growing back and starting to produce. It's getting that time of the year again.
And we need to get together next weekend and do something so I can bring you your Christmas presents that we have for you and that Kaylee had sent for you guys for Christmas.
Well, we got a concert coming up on the 29th too as well.
Well, yeah, but we can still meet up before then. Well, yeah, this Saturday will be 2 weeks until that concert.
Yeah. So we're going to see Blackberry Smoke. That's a pretty good group.
Yeah. Ever since Robert Earl Keen stopped doing his touring and whatnot, they've become my favorite go-to at floors. And they've been coming the last couple of years, every year around this March, April timeframe. I'm pretty happy. Then
a little bit later on, we're going to see Trisha Yearwood. I'm kind of excited about going to see that one.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy to be seeing her, too.
And I forgot to mention, in April, one of your son-in-laws has got a birthday coming up there, Peter.
When's his?
Peter's birthday is April 18th.
I'll be dang.
So we're getting old.
Yeah, I would say so.
Hell, I know I am. I just look at the damn image in this thing is looking at me, and I can see
what?
I can look at and see how old I'm getting by looking at this damn image I got in this computer here looking at me. I can see this screen cracking already.
I hear you.
I've got a few things happening here pretty soon. So,
man,
it's getting close to that time. You and Carolyn going to be shouting out to me.
Yeah, it's getting close. We don't want to drag it out. But one last thing about the Tuskegee Airmen. I don't know if we mentioned it, but I think you might have. But it's important, again, to remember it. Benjamin O. Davis, that you were talking about.
Yes.
And he commanded both a Buffalo Soldier unit as well as in the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yes, he did. And I didn't talk about him in this group because we had talked about him a little bit before when we talked about Buffalo Soldiers.
Right, but I just wanted to make sure that we brought it back up again. Because both. I mean, that's impressive.
It seems to me like he was at San Juan Hill with Teddy Roosevelt. I can't remember.
I don't think he's that old, though.
I know they had a group from if I remember, the Buffalo Soldiers that was participated in San Juan Hill with Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, Benjamin O. Davis was born after that. Now, the Buffalo Soldiers, they, like we talked about the last time, they fought in the Mexican incursion when Pancho Villa came across the border and raided a bunch of small American towns around New Mexico, I think.
New Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, the Buffalo Soldiers went into Mexico after him with, remember Blackjack Pershing. General Pershing led those guys. And it has, like I said, it hadn't been confirmed that that's how he got his name Blackjack or not. But it makes for a good story.
A lot of interesting history there. I suggest and recommend people go back and if you like reading history.
I don't like to view it as black history. I like to view it as our history, our American history,
Exactly.
and especially our military history.
Yep. But I'm gonna tell you that I went back and do some reading about Olds and Chappie James. Those two were characters. Even back in my day in Vietnam, they were still they were talked about. I mean, you knew who they were. I mean, that's how badass those guys were.
You
Yeah.
read about Operation Bolo, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next time.
I like that hat. Where the hell did you get that hat at?
You were with me when I got it.
Okay.
Right after we bought our swag for the San Antonio Commanders, the
Yeah.
whole the whole league went under, remember? You bought me this hat and the T-shirt and then whatever shirt. I think you got a hat too. Remember, we were outside the stadium to get some swag. There was a whole lot of people there because, everybody's excited about football. But we got to maybe get a ticket to some Brahma games again.
Yep. That's a lot of fun to go watch them. And hopefully we'll be able to get a bigger crowd this year to watch them. So,
Well, they had a pretty big. I think the San Antonio, they have the largest attendance of any of the teams, I believe.
yep. Boy, everything I'm reading about Alabama football, it sounds pretty good. I'm getting excited. I already got April, I think it's April 22nd. I can't remember now the exact date. That, it's not going to be on TV this year, the A-Day game.
No, it's not going to be on TV. It's going to be, you can stream it.
But it seems like Kayla and DeBoer are doing a good job of recruiting through the portal and they're recruiting that everything I'm reading, a lot of freshman players has really started to step up and get noticed and stuff. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Alabama football. I'm looking for Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer. I think we're going to see a big change. I just hope they get some of the defensive pieces fixed. It's one thing to be great on offense, but if their offense is putting up points because your defense can't stop them, what's the point?
well, that's one of the things that I'm reading about defense. They have recruited a safety, or I forgot now where it came from, but he's one of the top in the country, and he in the transfer portal. He's a redshirt sophomore. Then there's a couple of players coming out of high school that's highly recruited that they're really high on. But
Okay.
so the defense looks like it may be picking up a little bit too, as like some linebackers and in the transfer portal, and so I try not to get too caught up in the stuff that you read, because that's somebody's opinion until you get out on the field and do it. But what I can read about there's a lot of excitement in the locker room about a lot of these players, especially these young players.
Yep. I believe it. All righty. Let's call it. Let's call it.
Call it a day and give a shout out to everybody and take a listen and let us know what the hell you think.
And spread the word.
Read the word.
All right.
All right, we'll see you.
Y'all take care, everybody.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Love you, Dad.